Welcome everyone to aniolvisuals, my YouTube channel, and today we will be working with this image. We'll go from this image to this image. I'm working first of all in RAW and in Lightroom, so these are images taken with an Fujifilm X-T3. It was taken 4 or 5 months ago, before the pandemic, before my trip to Japan, and this is one beautiful coastal image from La Costa Brava, close to where I live. And well, yeah, let's start editing this image. First of all, and to make it easier to see where I am cropping now, I'll just raise the shadows to see what we have here. Let's do it on Instagram size. It's 4x5. This is exactly the maximum Instagram allows you. Let's do an auto adjustment. It works pretty well, and I'll crop it that way. I'll crop it here because first of all we are using a rule of thirds, so first third is going to be sky, second third is going to be from this rock to our main rock, and the third third is going to be this foreground. Now that we have this, we can go back to the shadows, although we will be touching them really soon, and we can focus here on this information. So you can see how we have a lot of information that's hidden because it's under the blacks. So let's start playing a little bit with the blacks. Although first what we can do is we can start adding a little more of exposure until this starts getting closer to the edge. This would mean that we would lose information. If you can see, if we do this, then the sky gets burned. So we can adjust at 0.5, and now we can start here. You can see those are blacks, those are shadows. Well, it's the usual exposure, highlights, and whites. We can 60, for example, the blacks, 60 something, 70 even, and now you can see that some information has moved here, and if we raise the shadows, we will getting some information from blacks to shadows. That seems nice. So just with two basic adjustments, our image is completely different. No need to adjust highlights or white. We could just even remove a little bit of light or add a little bit of white just to make the sky pop a little bit. In this case, it's easy because we don't have a lot of information on the white, so we won't be burning a lot of information. Just imagine if we raise the highlights, then we would be burning a lot of information. Anyway, that's not what we are trying to do, just a little bit more of light. No need to adjust texture clarity. In fact, we could decrease a little bit the clarity of this area. And yeah, I want the water to be a little bit more something, so I'll just raise the exposition of this area. As you can clearly see, this is too much. I'll just go with something like 0.2. That looks slightly better. Yes. And I'm thinking about this clarity adjustment I've made. Maybe just switch it for a little bit less of texture. This way we can we won't focus our attention here in the foreground, and our eyes will go straight to the rock. As you can see here, we have this structure that is leading our eyes to the rock. That's the main element of this image. No need to adjust vibrance and saturation. This image this will be done using other techniques. And here, let's start with the turn curves. The turn curves are maybe the most essential, or the things where you can make more drastic changes and where you can completely destroy an image or overlay it. Here we'll just add a slightly bit of bluish, slightly bit of yellow. As you can see here, we are just adding blue to our you can see how the sea is a little bit bluish. When we deactivate, it can be better seen at the navigator page. We can even add a little bit more of blue. Now it's pretty good. A little less, not that much. Sometimes it's quite difficult to adjust this. Now I like it. Yeah, the difference is perceptible. And however, I also think that I need a little bit more of red in the sky. You can see, in fact, I'm not gonna go this way. I'm gonna go using the green one. Yeah, you can see. This is something that can be done, but that in my case I'm not gonna do. I'm just gonna slightly modify this. I don't want the image to look very weird, just you can see a little bit more of reddish in the sky. Still looks nice. We're getting closer to our destiny image, that's this one. What other things should we do? So once we have done our tone curves are done, we can, one thing that I find very useful is to reduce or just minimize these areas where we have already working. Let's go with colors. Here there are different things. First of all, I want to make a little bit wider the range of chromatic colors I have here in the sky, so I'll just move everything a little bit down, because here, as you can see all the red, both in the rocks and in the sky. It goes a little more orangey, and this orange here is going a little bit more yellowish, and this that was more orange is going a little bit more yellow. This way we have more range of tones in the sky, and we don't go suddenly from so we add the yellow, to say somehow. Also, I think that here we could change a little bit the tones of the sky and the water. If you want to make it a little bit more like sunrise, it was shot at 6 p.m. or something like that, this image. Sorry, 6 a.m. Here we could just add a little bit more of blue in this, go from blue to purple. And here, as you can see, the difference is pretty significant. We can also add a little more of saturation in the sky, not a lot, because we don't want it to look over-edited. Pretty nice. We want the difference to be slightly noticeable, not very noticeable. And no need to saturate the water, because it would be useless. Well, it would look really fake. And here I would add a little bit of luminance to the water. As you can see, it gives it a lot of light. Split toning, maybe the most important way to unify tones. Here we will add a little bit of yellowish. Here we go with this bluish, more purple. Not very necessary in the shadows. It's a very quite. You can see how the sky turns a little more red. We'll reduce the sharpening that we already have here, and no need to transform the image or anything else. So now let's go for the magical parts. This is radial filter. This is your best friend. No need to add exposure, just a little bit of dehaze. You can see how when you add a lot of dehaze, it gives like this mist, but here it will just make it clear where the light's coming from. You could add a lot of exposure, but in this case it's not necessary. Just before it's like if we aren't adding anything, you can see this is part of it. Okay, and now finally, now we already have our final image. As you can see, both images are very similar. There's just one changes that we need to do, and I like doing it once everything else is done. Let's go to the tone curves, and let's go to the big one, the RGB one, and let's add our tone curve. Ooh. Sorry, that wasn't intended. The result was fun enough. And this is a little bit how our tone curve is looking like. I won't be giving that much importance to shadows in the midtones. And yeah, I'll even add a little bit of light here and here as well. You can see we could be doing weird things. I like it the way it is. You see, here we already have this image, just some subtle differences. As you can see, the tone curves are slightly different because I was modifying them manually. Yeah, in this second case, in the one we are working with, just here the lights. But one thing that we could add, and that would make our image go one step further, is remark where the light's coming from. So remember, light's coming from left. Here it's very obvious, but here we have areas that are illuminated by the light. So make sure not to add a lot of flow to your painting here, to your brushes. and let's start painting. Press O to see the area you're painting on. So here you can see I'm painting where I can notice a little bit of tones from the sun. Here you can see there are a couple there, and there are a couple here. This area is also white, lightened by the sun. Same there, same there. Look at all this area. You can see all the glow from the sun here, and at this one as well. Even here, and there. Okay. You can see now what can we do with this. What we can do is just, of course, here we have to be very subtle. A little bit more of light, and we could even paint it a little bit. In this case, if you remember, we changed a little bit of the tones from a yellow to more orangey one. You can go here and select one of the tones very slightly. You get some exposure, and you can even add a little bit of clarity. See how it's brighter. You could even reduce textures if you don't want to make it super obvious that you have this. But in this case, you will see the difference is very subtle, but it simply adds to what we were doing. So this is a technique that I will cover in a different video. Here I would just show how we go from this image to that image, which is almost like this one. If you liked this video, please leave it a thumbs up, like it, subscribe to see more editing, and if you want to see any other of my images, please visit my Instagram at aniolvisuals or my website for more tutorials and for specific guides for some trips such as Japan or very soon Poland. Thank you very much and have fun!